What's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another few horror movie reviews, and this time we're going to be talking about the last Warwick Davis Leprechaun films, the final three, or excuse me, the last three, that being Leprechaun 4 in Space, Leprechaun in the Hood, and Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel.
Bloody Jacob, for sexy, awesome, exclusive content.
Better subscribe and watch my friend on the YouTube channel. He is kicking ass.
Fuck with me and my friend! I'm after my family!
That sounds like a warning.
It's an invitation.
And that's right, I have the Leprechaun 7-film collection Blu-ray Steelbook. Yes, this is very gratifying to finally get. I had been seeing it at my local video store for quite some time, but wanted to, finish all the movies before I, the original movies anyway, before I got it. Just to justify the, the price, because this usually goes for like about $29-40. I have seen it on sale for like $20, so of course I chose not to buy it then, like an idiot, because I'd only seen the first film. And that was before I discovered just how much I absolutely love this horror character, Warwick Davis's version anyway. I still have yet to watch Leprechaun Origins, which I'm expecting to be a bland dumpster fire. I am pretty curious about Leprechaun Returns though. But either way, it's a bit sad that I am done with the Warwick Davis Leprechaun films, because they're such a really fun and easy place to go to for me. Some have been better than others, but it's gotten increasingly very, very enjoyable. I mean, I gotta rewatch the first one at some point, but I was pretty lukewarm on that one. I actually really liked part 2, and 3 I think is probably the best one, maybe. We'll talk about that maybe in a few minutes. And yeah, we're finally here. We're here to the space movie and the 2 Hood movies. But yeah, I mean, why don't we start talking about Leprechaun in Space, huh? Leprechaun in Space came out in 1997, was directed by Brian Trenchard Smith, written by Dennis Pratt, again starring Warwick Davis. A couple recognizable faces in it that some may recognize from other genre work, like Jeff Mead and a couple others. And of course, this was kind of the space movie, right? Jason had, Jason X, and, there were kind of other, even, like, Critters did a space movie, I believe. I haven't seen it. But yeah, in a lot of these longer-running horror franchises, there's always a really odd one where they tried to really just take it in a wild direction, because either they couldn't come up with other ideas, they thought the series was dying, or both. I don't know, and around this time, like, the space thing was kind of the trend, even if it wasn't really the genre. And I get enjoyment out of Jason X personally for what it is. And again, I apologize for using the webcam here, but it's just a bit quicker sometimes, and these QMR group movie reviews I tend to go through a little bit faster anyway. So, but yeah, anyway, Leprechaun 4 in Space. It is definitely a mixed bag. Is it as horrid as most general consensuses would have you believe? No. We get to see Leprechaun use a fucking lightsaber in the movie, okay, guys? And I apologize about the lights in the background. I gotta get some fixtures or something, still trying to perfect my setup down here. But, yeah. It is a basement, yes, I am in a basement, but it is my own house, so, ha. But yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag. It's definitely a bit dull at times. Some scenes feel a bit too long with characters that aren't necessarily the most well-rounded or the most well-acted. But again, Leprechaun uses a lightsaber. Actually, he only used it one time though, but still, it was kind of cool. Also, he turns giant in this. It's a little bit hokey. I felt like they could have done more with that. See, I said it was hokey, then I said they could have done more with that, if that gives you any indication of how my mind works. But yeah, it was enjoyable. There's this whole corrupt alien princess he's trying to become king with and stuff like that. So it's one of those things, and it was kind of fun. She ends up, she keeps trying to betray him, or sometimes when she sees his gold, she says, "Hey, maybe I should marry this guy after all," right? But it's all in good fun, I think. I just think it wasn't necessarily too long. I just think it was a bit, I don't know, they could have gotten more creative with certain parts. There's also this guy running the whole thing who's hooked up to a bunch of shit. Worse off than the Leprechaun is, and you're kind of excited to see him get his comeuppance, I suppose. But it's a bit of a mixed bag, but definitely not horrible. I'll definitely watch it again. If I had to rate it, still tough to figure out, but I'm going to get like a 73%, C minus, somewhere in there. And then next up we have, I didn't get a poster for it, instead I'm just using this image to talk about it, Leprechaun in the Hood. Yes, the first part of that, even though they're not really connected, but I'm actually using this as a profile picture on Facebook right now for the past few weeks or so. Unfortunately, though, Leprechaun in the Hood was probably the worst movie in this series. I don't know. Now, I said in space there's an issue with too much concentration on humans that don't really work, basically, right? And in this, that problem's even worse. Because you get very stereotypical characters. Of course, the whole in the Hood thing lends itself to that. But it's not just that. It's just the way the movie's made. Even scenes go on too long, too little dialogue in those scenes, and there's just kind of some really long shots. I don't know. The editing's a bit weird as well, the transitions and everything. It's just not very well made. Though there are saving graces, a couple kills, if they're off screen, partly, which is a little bit frustrating, but it's an issue in this franchise, and some of the, a lot of horror movies tend to get butchered like that, especially the older series, you'll notice, with that whole MPAA thing. But Leprechaun rapping at the end makes up for it. And what's kind of unique about this one is that, okay, spoilers, if you haven't seen it, skip about a minute ahead. Spoilers, Leprechaun actually doesn't die in this. I mean, I talk about this in my other Leprechaun movie reviews, but I believe the Leprechaun is an eternal being of some kind. I don't think it's a different Leprechaun every time. I mean, I know they just have him look the same because it's Warwick Davis and they need Warwick Davis, but my theory is that he's an eternal being, and even if he dies, he's automatically reincarnated, or he automatically re-emerges as soon as someone gets greedy or does something, and that's just how the powers work, and it brings him out automatically. I think that's a cool idea. I think that makes sense. But he doesn't die in this, and yeah, he actually takes control of the main character at the end and raps. So that's pretty fucking fun. It's just rare to see that in a horror movie. The villain lead the way for a change. But yeah, there are good little things about it. Warwick Davis definitely carries the movie on his shoulders, as he does all of them, really. But in this one in particular, he is really the only true source of entertainment value. Stereotypical characters are played by untalented actors. But it is what it is. If I had to rate it, probably a D minus. Honestly, I could give it an F if I wanted to. The only thing stopping me from not giving it an F, or excuse me, I can't speak. The only thing stopping me from giving it an F is Warwick Davis. he is just so fucking charismatic and enjoyable to watch in every single movie. He never misses a beat. He never feels like he's phoning it in. I swear, I'm not saying it's... I'm not trying to exactly compare him to Freddy Krueger and Robert Englund or anything, but it's a similar dedication I can see within him, how much effort he puts into it. Okay, last but definitely not least is Leprechaun Back to the Hood. No direct follow-up, it's not a direct continuation of the first Hood movie, but I don't think that's a bad thing. What's interesting about this movie's production, though, is I think it was the original director from the first Hood movie was going to come back. The director or writer, I forget which one it is. Originally, they were going to have it set on an island during spring break, so you can imagine all the fun that would be had with the Leprechaun there. But no, they wanted it just to be another Hood movie, so the guy had left. And so we got another Hood movie. But luckily for us, or for me anyway, I think Back to the Hood is arguably the most enjoyable movie in the franchise. Between this and Leprechaun 3, I think. And then 2. But we'll do a whole video on that later, I'm sure. I want to do a video ranking more, series and stuff like that. But yeah, Back to the Hood is surprisingly very enjoyable. I mean, they tweak the Leprechaun's makeup just a bit in some of his outfits. He looks very good. Makeup always looks very good in these movies. That's shockingly consistent in every movie. That's another saving grace. There's actually some fight scenes in this. Leprechaun gets a bit more handsy than you've seen him get before. And some, pretty good brutalizations in it as well. He takes a guy's leg off and drives a car with it. Okay. He slaps plenty of people around. It's a lot of fun. It definitely was more well made. It's definitely paced a lot better than the previous film. And the characters, although stereotypical again, I feel like they have some sense. The actors actually have some sort of life to them, so that's good. And yeah, just it kept me engaged, and I had a blast with it, honestly. I think it may be my personal favorite, maybe. But yeah, so let you guys slap by. If I had to rate Leprechaun Back to the Hood, I should cool my jets a little bit, but I'm giving it a B+, 88%, maybe even a 90. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, I loved. I have a soft spot for all these Leprechaun movies now. I honestly think it's he himself and the series. I think is in my top 5 horror franchises and characters now, which I never expected to say, but it's the truth. Just so fucking lovable to watch, right? Man. I think I thought about each of these, and when I do watch Origins at some point, probably sometime within this month, I will do a video on it, giving my thoughts, and I am curious to see Returns, but I really hope Warwick Davis returns at some point. He said he wanted to wait for his kids to be more grown up and out, and that time is now, I think. So I think the next 10 years we might actually see him pop up if they make a Leprechaun movie. That'd be awesome. But for now, Back to the Hood wasn't a terrible one to leave on, in my opinion. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.